Hi there, students. A flaneur, a person. You can also actually use this as a verb, to flaneur as well. Okay, this idea of a flaneur is a concept that comes from French. It actually comes from mid to late 19th century Paris, and a flaneur was and still is a person who strolls round town in an aimless way, just looking at the things that are happening. It's somebody who's walking round town and watching the things that go round. It's an observer of what is going on. They're separate from society, but they're just watching what's going on. So they're walking around not doing anything in particular, but watching society, watching people. I think many people nowadays, when they go on holiday, they adopt the role of a flaneur. You go to a city you don't know and you flaneur around the city all day, probably with your camera. And it's quite interesting to flaneur in a city that you don't know and maybe taking interesting photographs of the things that you see. Okay, so a flaneur. Now, notice in today's language, the flaneur also has the idea that the person who's doing this is lazy. They're a loafer. They don't work. They are idle. It's a bit aimless what they're doing. So this idea of the flaneur has also taken on the idea of a lazy bones, a lounger, a slacker, somebody who's not really doing what they should be. They're a lounger. Now you even have the phrase a cyberflaneur. A cyberflaneur is somebody who surfs the net all day just looking for interesting things. I have to accuse myself of being a bit of a cyberflaneur. So to flaneur, to walk around aimlessly, slowly. But I think that it also has the idea of looking at people, watching society. And effectively the flaneur is just enjoying and taking in the different scenes, the different things that are happening. We've also got the French phrase flânerie, but that hasn't gone into English. So a flaneur is somebody who's lazy, who walks about, who doesn't really do anything. They're walking round, they stroll or lounge round, just watching people. I guess you could do this sitting at a cafe watching the world go by. I think this is the same idea. But the flaneur, an idle man about town who doesn't have to work, he has enough. I think the basic definition of a flaneur is somebody who walks around the city just looking at things. Yeah, it suggests freedom to go wherever you want, to look at it. It's somebody who simply who wanders. And being a flaneur in a city you don't know is I think can be very interesting, because also, like, at that point you're on holiday and you can relax. Although I think the flaneur does this the whole time. The flaneur was a common figure in 19th century Paris. Somebody walking around alone, maybe rather artistic, just tasting the sights that were going on of the city, tasting the sights of what was happening. Yeah, so you're just walking through the city, going from place to place, but it's got the idea of somebody who's lazy, somebody who's loafing about, somebody who doesn't have to work for a living. So let's see. Yes. As to origin, from French flâneur, a loafer, an idler, somebody who dawdles, somebody who loiters. Yeah, it comes from flânerie, but this is the idea of walking around looking at things. So, enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. Flaneur. Cyberflaneur.